Hey everyone, and welcome to this edition of Stream On. I'm Jim Williams, your host, and as in life, so goes television. And there's an old saying that timing is everything. And I think that's really the best way to describe the brand new Bounce and Brown Sugar Show Johnson that drops tonight, August the 1st, 8 p.m. on Bounce, where you can stream it on demand on Brown Sugar. First things first, it's a dramedy. It's a great show. Everybody should watch it because it is well written, it is well acted, it is well directed, it is a quality television show. Now, the series is set in Atlanta. It revolves, around four lifelong friends, all sharing the same last name Johnson, but they're not related. Now, the lead characters are specifically written from a black male point of view to explain why men make certain decisions that revolve around friendships, love, and heartbreak. Now, I'm telling you right now, folks, this is a program, as I said before, its timing is perfect. We need this show. It's got a sense of humor, but it deals with heavy matters. The show, I'm absolutely certain, will be a water cooler program. Now, we're blessed today to have the cast of the show, the driving force behind this creative and absolutely fantastic program, Johnson. Deji, LaRay, Philip Smiley, Thomas Jones, and Derrex Brady. Saw the first episode. And guys, it's very seldom that in a first episode everything gels. But for some reason, there must be great chemistry between the four of you because it took about a minute and a half to understand that this was going to be fun.
Thank you.
That was great to hear, man. Thank you so much. Did you see the
really
first episode or the first two?
I saw the first one. I didn't see the first two.
Got it. Okay.
Looking forward to watching the second one, but right now I only got to get to one.
Got it.
Yeah, chemistry is definitely natural. But this is Thomas, by the way, Q Jones.
Yep.
The chemistry is natural. We just have a specific type of energy. We're all just really, really good guys that have good intentions. And I think when you get a group of people together like that are just genuinely honest people, those are the kind of performances that you get because we're not really acting. We're just being ourselves. So that's great that you saw that in a minute and a half of the show.
Well, I'm just saying it doesn't, when you see something and it's good, it doesn't take 15, 20, 30 minutes to figure it out.
That's
Great
right.
compliment.
And I think that's really,
amazing to hear.
Well, I've been in this business 45 years and in programming for about 37 of it. And the old saying goes, if I give you 5 minutes, if you can't get me hooked by 5 minutes, then I'm gone. And I think what you guys have done is pretty amazing. Would it be fair to call the show a dramedy? Because it's funny, but there's also some parts of it that, really take on some serious topic.
That sounds pretty accurate to me. Yeah. This is Philip, by the way. I play Keith.
Go ahead, Philip.
I was just saying that sounds very, especially just from Deji, his writing, I think he's really exemplified that really great balance between the drama and the comedy. And and I think a dramedy is a perfect way to describe it. But what do you think, Deji?
Yeah, man. I mean, dramedy is, I guess, the official title for the genre. We like to call it real life, because in life things are funny, right? And then the next moment they turn serious and they turn back funny, and we find the humor in serious situations, and we still laugh in serious situations, or we get serious super quick. So we didn't want to be tied down to having to abide by certain rules when it comes to the genre. You know, we
Mhm.
wanted it to feel organic, natural, and just flow. And we feel like we capture that essence. And so, yes, it is a true dramedy. But you know, even further than that, we want to call it real life.
Well, one of the things that I think is so engaging about the show is we need this show and we need people to watch this show now more than ever.
Listen. We strongly agree.
Yeah,
we
definitely.
strongly
We
agree, and
definitely.
that's a big statement. You know, for many reasons. We need people to watch this show because you know there's been a lack of shows that have been told from this perspective,
Right.
from the black male's perspective.
Mhm.
There's been a lack of shows that have been, you know, super honest and unfiltered in terms of covering certain issues that goes on in our community,
Right.
and challenging each other. You know,
Mhm.
so we're not shying away from any topics. We're bringing everything to the forefront, and we're exploring many different perspectives on controversial topics that we all deal with. And so we feel like the show is timely. We feel like it's entertaining, but it's also enlightening. So,
Sure.
you know, we agree. I think that's a very good compliment, man, and we appreciate that. We agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. It's a show that is finally, we feel, is told from our perspective too. It's written by, you know, black men that are living this experience, and also all the other characters are written basically through our viewpoint of those other
Mhm.
characters.
Right.
Even the women characters on the show, it's written how we see them versus how they see us or how the
Right.
world sees us. So it definitely gives people a lens into a specific lens to see kind of how we see these specific situations, and it is timely. Actually should have been done a long time ago. So you know, hopefully people will see the same thing you see when they watch it.
You know,
This is this is
go
Derrex
ahead.
Brady, and I, piggybacking off of what Deji and Thomas said, it
Mhm.
really is timely. The thing about our show is that it is real life and it's very grounded. And
Mhm.
so while we make you laugh and we entertain you, we're not going to shy away from some of the issues that are really going on in the households, or that men are really talking about, or what women are really thinking or wondering what we're talking about. We're going to go in and dive in and show you how brothers really, really talk to one another, as well as hold each other accountable. So that's, I think, some of the magic about our show.
You know, one of the other things I think is, again, both topical as well as, and I hesitate to use the term entertaining because in some regards that kind of cheapens the thing, but I'm not, for lack of a better word, I'm gonna have to use entertaining, is the fact that you've got each one of these characters are flawed, okay?
Mhm.
But they understand that flaw and they understand that they are going to work through this to make themselves better. And
Yeah.
I think that is one of the things that hooked me, is that, we're not trying to give you a view of four perfect people. We're giving you a view of four real people. And then here's where we build from that.
I love that. And this is Philip, by the way. I think what's interesting
Mhm.
is that you have four people who are all very different, but in essence, they all kind of want the same thing. They want to be taken seriously. They want
Mhm.
success. They want, good relationships. And they all have different tactics about how they kind of go about those things. Like even like looking at my character I play Keith,
Mhm.
he's kind of the odd man out, but he
Right.
does want to be taken seriously. He wants a relationship. He wants respect from his brothers. He wants to have succeed in his career goals, and that's something that I think everybody can relate to. My hope is that everybody sees a piece of themselves in each of these characters and really sees like their own journey, because we're all flawed and we all have the same kind of wants and desires, and we all choose different ways to go about it, just like these guys.
I saw a a review, and I'm not about to throw shade on the person who reviewed, but um, the way they put it was that this is a very important show for the Black community. And, I kind of thought a better way of putting it, and you guys tell me, is that this is a good show that is about the Black community. Not, sometimes we get to the point where we pigeonhole and say, well, this is a great woman's show for women. Well, is it a good show or is it a good show for women? And I think sometimes you cheapen the real subtext of what you guys are doing by trying to, first and foremost, this is a good show, okay? By every metric, writing, producing, directing, acting, it's a good show. The fact that it also happens to be centered around 4 Black men, that's just part of the show. Am I wrong, or what am I missing?
It's funny. I just want to say, I think it's funny that it's awesome that you say that, because it's actually, there's a moment in the second episode where Jarvis and his wife Lisa are playing games, and one of the things that comes up is love and basketball, and they immediately just go, oh, is that a Black movie? And it's like, no, it's not a Black movie. There are Black characters in there,
right?
But it's an amazing movie with Black people in it.
Right.
So I think it's very poignant what you're saying, is that this is not a Black show. It's a show about our community that is going to be out there for everyone.
Yeah, and I think first and foremost, you're right about that, Jim. Our show is very universal. Our show is constructed in a way to where it's going to resonate and reach all audiences. It's a show for men. It's a show for women. It's a show for anybody who loves good TV.
Yeah.
It's a show that you're able to look at and see, really good, smart writing. We hope that the audience, sees that. Really good acting. Some of the reviews are just really touching on, how, all the actors are just really grounded and natural and in pocket.
Sure.
We appreciate that. So first and foremost, you have to cover all those filmmaking themes and bases to attract viewership and for people to know that this is a well-rounded show. I don't know where the review was at. I think what they might have been referring to, because I do think that certain things can run parallel, right? There's certain themes in there that is going to be for everybody. And I think there are very specific moments within the world that might speak to a certain demographic, the Black community specifically. Certain things that, might be specific to the Black community, such as, in one of the scenes, we have a character who intimately is oiling the hair of his girlfriend. Right. And that's something that's very specific to the Black community, or certain topics and issues that could be controversial in our community, but might not be controversial in another community. So if they're talking about those specific issues, then I can see how they meant that it's important to the Black community for representation, to see these certain elements on screen for the first time, to cover these topics and controversial issues from different perspectives, unlike anybody's ever seen before, that, the Black community will cherish and feel like they're represented. But the larger, like you said, the larger overall narrative is just to make a good show, because even with some of those specific issues, other cultures are going to be able to look at that and still understand it. They're going to still be able to look at that and laugh and be entertained and take something from it. So you're right. It's a universal show. It covers bases of all grounds, all backgrounds, all nationalities. But there are specific gems in the show that are targeted from our experience, as Black men in America, for sure.
Well, it gets back.
Jim, this is Thomas. This is Thomas. Real quick, it's also important to the Black community because this is the first show of its kind.
Right.
And that's another point, because obviously it's a very, very diverse show. And any man or woman watching this show can connect to this material. They can connect to the topics, they can connect to the relationships, the disconnects, the flawed characters. They can connect completely. But very specifically in the Black community, a Black male, honest POV with 4 Black men that are flawed characters, honest, in 4 different specific situations. It's the first ever. So it's I see both sides of the spectrum. I totally see your side, and I can also see the person who made the comment side as well. Equally.
Right. And again, the person who wrote the article was not, was not looking at this and saying that it wasn't a good show. It was just that they embraced that part of it, which is fine.
Yeah.
Right.
But
That's great, man.
But I've always been someone who concerns themselves with the totality of the program versus the specific, underpinning of it. Which,
that's right.
Because
that's how it should be. That's how it should be. I think we're working hopefully to get to that point in entertainment to where it becomes, everything becomes accepted, and it becomes just kind of a universal situation for everybody to enjoy. It's a process getting there, of course, but I definitely see that perspective, and hopefully we'll make it there someday to where people don't see, a film comes out and it's not a Black film. It's just a really, really, really good film for sure.
Right.
The other thing, guys, because I'm so god awfully old, and I've been in this business, is when basically, they were just, when television had just begun, simply. No, I'm just kidding. But I have been around, and what I would suggest to you is that your program in the old days, all right? First of all, it wouldn't gotten made in the old days, but let's just leave that aside for the moment. Your show in the old days would be called a water cooler program, meaning that when I watched the show the next morning, we in the office would be talking about it.
Wow.
I think that what we're doing now, because there are no water coolers anymore, and in the age of COVID, there aren't that many offices anymore. But I have a feeling, and I hope I'm right. That this is going to be one of those shows that you're going to see social media blow up big time after people begin to watch it.
Wow.
I think that's definitely
Jim,
the hope.
First and foremost, it's incredible that you say that, because we've said literally those exact words. I think that was the direction going into this. It was strategic to make sure that we are having scenes and moments that are conversation starters that are going to drive the conversation well after the show is over. The show is not going to be over when the show is technically over. The conversations are going to continue. And, in our conversations before making the show, we literally use those words that this show is going to create water cooler talk, but in this age, it's going to be the social media talk. So the fact that you said that is just proof that, what we set out to do resonated, and that's very good to hear, man.
I could foresee this program getting a lot of like a situation where you have like a watch party, right? We're going to say, hey, let's get together and watch the show together, because it really is a show that evokes conversation while you're actually watching it.
Yeah, it definitely does. This is Thomas. It definitely evokes conversation because there's just so much that we tackle, and in different relationships as well. It's not a one-dimensional show. You have one guy who's going through a divorce and child custody battle, another guy who's, trying to figure out whether or not he wants to commit to his girlfriend. Another guy is, dealing with some microaggressions in corporate America. And another one is a creative that, is in love with someone that's taking advantage of him. So there's just so much there for people to talk about and chew on that I definitely agree. And that's what happens when you have a great show. People talk about it, and then the show kind of takes on a mind of its own. So we're hoping that's what happens as well.
Well, it also becomes part of the everyday fabric, right? If you look at going back in the 80s, if you look like a show like a Murphy Brown, right? The vice president of the United States at the time, Dan Quayle, I almost forgot his name because he was such an unforgettable character. Dan Quayle, blamed Murphy Brown, the show, on the degrading of the family. And you're thinking,
Wow.
and you're like, wow, okay, cool. This guy is so obsessed with Murphy Brown and what the content that somebody must have hit a nerve somewhere.
That's so true. I think this is Philip. The influence of like what we watch on our pop culture and our everyday life cannot be overstated. When you have popular shows and when you have popular shows that discuss popular topics, they find a way to infiltrate like everyday life and infiltrate people's families, like their home, even though they're thinking. And with a show like Johnson that is as prolific and as outspoken about like some of the perspectives that have not been seen before, it is a real opportunity to have new meaningful conversations and for people to really like open up like the feelings and thoughts that they've been having on some of these things. And it's exciting to see how this can be a show that can help bring people together again, especially when we've been living in a time where where we've been isolated. Like this is a show that that brings people together. For
sure. And the other part, like you said before, because it's organic, because it's real, there's not, if I'm laughing at something, it's because at the time you guys are laughing at it. It's not like you guys wrote this or the people who wrote this, your writers, your producers, your showrunners, was like, let's get a laugh track here, or let's punch this up to make it funny. It's funny because it's organically true and funny.
Right. The honesty is just like Deji said earlier. Life is funny, and it's serious, and sometimes it's, the serious stuff is funny too, and that's why I think people can relate because it's so honest. Sometimes we laugh at things that aren't funny to other people,
right?
But that's what makes it funny, So no. I think Deji as a writer wrote these episodes in a way where it was easily digestible for any and everyone to understand the comedy without trying to be funny and being a comedian. Philip is a natural. We're all four funny naturally. We have these natural quirks about us. And Deji was able to kind of find our voice, our specific voice with each character to make those moments happen, which is dope.
And I think, this is Deji, I think that what's going to be cool too is that a lot of men are going to see themselves and their circles reflected in us as well. You're going to see, it's a lot of guys who have, group texts, group chats, with their friends, and, everybody's, throwing in lines or sending memes or whatever it is, or when they're hanging out together, having conversations, and sometimes the conversation turns funny, sometimes it doesn't. Nobody's really trying to get a laugh. Everybody's just hanging out, having a good time, talking about real stuff, and the conversation leads where it leads. And so I think seeing everybody being able to see themselves and their circle of friends reflected in these characters is really what's going to make it super relatable for the audience.
Which makes it, that's the key. Hey, by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't mention D.L. Hughley in this. And it's the old joke, what's the matter? You couldn't find somebody with a name. Yeah. D.L. Hughley has always been one of my favorite people. And playing Uncle Eugene is a bit of a trip.
Wow. It's a bit of a trip for you to see him as Uncle Eugene.
I think what's a trip is that it's good to see him. Number one, it's always good to see him. But the second thing is that you would not necessarily think let me qualify that. I wouldn't necessarily think that DJ Hughley would be, someone who could bounce off so much from you guys as he does in this particular show, if that's being fair to him.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. It's almost like, well, listen, I mean, Mr. Hughley, man, first and foremost, we appreciate D.L. Hughley for being a part of this show, for seeing the vision and seeing the value in this show. You know, we appreciate Cedric the Entertainer, who is one of the executive producers of Johnson, as well, for you know, bringing this show to the forefront. Mr. Eric Brown, Risha Archibald, those are the other executive producers on the show. And, you know, DL came on set, and I had never worked with him before. You know, I always respected him. I always looked up to him.
He's a legend. Dude. There's no question.
Yeah, he's a legend, man. And you just, you know, when somebody who's been in the business that long and has that many accolades, you never know what you're going to get on set. You just never know, you know. Yeah. But from the conversations we had before he came to set, I could tell he was one of the most genuine people that I would ever meet in the business. And so when he came on set, man, he had the hardest work ethic. He was super serious about his craft, and he's an actor. You know, he's a comedian, but he's also an actor. And I think that's what we got to understand.
Incredible actor.
Yeah, that's what we got to understand is, you know, everybody expects the comedian D.L. Hughley every time you see him. And you'll get that, you know, because he's a comedian at heart. But in this piece, he's an actor. And so he played his role, and his role was, you know, to be this mentor character, this uncle who gives strong advice. Sometimes the advice is good. Sometimes, you know, it might not be the best advice. He's funny. You know, he's just that uncle, man, that everybody loves to have a conversation with, man. And so he really just fell into that role. He truly became a part of the ensemble, and I think that's what's truly special, is that we can have 5 guys in one scene, and nobody was bigger than the scene. Nobody was bigger than the project. It didn't matter that he was D.L. Hughley on the show. It didn't matter that he had, you know, more credits or more, you know, people know who he is. It's like once he fell into that scene, he became just one of the guys. He became Uncle Eugene, you know, and that was very special.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, isn't that what makes good actor?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Definitely. I mean, that's what I was saying earlier. This is Thomas. We just had natural chemistry. And I think when DL came on the set, I could feel that. You know, we just finished shooting a scene in the pool hall where we were all warmed up and we were juiced up and we were having fun. And that energy we took into that next scene with DL, the first scene we shot with him. And it was kind of impossible for him to not sink in and, you know, get in on the fun, because it's a fun show and it's written super fun for us, because we get a chance as black men to be honest and move how we move and talk how we talk, and our mannerisms are okay and they're not too much and they're not too black. So all of us, you know, even DL felt super comfortable. That's why the scenes look like that, because we were actually living those scenes and having fun just in our natural environment. And I think DL was able to really understand when we shot that scene. He understood before, but when he got on set and he saw just the production value and all of us, I think he realized, like, wow, this is something special. And that's why the performances were like that, including DL's.
Yeah, I think it really.
I just wanted to add. I just wanted to add real quick that another thing that was amazing, though, you know, having Deji and Thomas as our showrunners of the show and taking every moment, every scene, every word, you know, the environment and everything so seriously. It was something that started from the top and rippled through. And having Mr. Hughley come to set, seeing how serious everybody was taking it and how everybody was all chips in, I think that actually made him encouraged, and it put a fire in all of us to come together and just really live and not just act. And so I think that's what you see on the show. And one of the things that we hear constantly, which is so encouraging, is the chemistry. I think DL saw our chemistry, and he just, being a veteran, he just jumped right in. So you're seeing amazing stuff happen because everybody's just grounded and real in the moment.
Hey, for the record, I'd like to hang out at that pool room from time to time. It looks like
you're welcome anytime.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Can you shoot pool?
Not as well as I thought I could.
Appreciate your honesty, Joe.
So, you know, might as well. I've lost enough money. I don't need to lose any more.
Are you sure you're not gonna bring out Lucille when we have lost a couple
Yeah,
bucks?
yeah. I'm Fast Eddie Fainter from from The Hustler.
That sounds like a hustle job. I don't know. It seems like a little bit of
You
a
know what?
setup.
Yeah, trust me. I don't know if the varsity's still in Atlanta, but that we'd be heading over there for milkshakes and hamburger.
Oh yeah, it's still there. It's right across the street from where our hotel was.
That's
I used to hang out there far too many times.
Oh wow!
Wow. We actually tried to shoot there. We tried to get permission to shoot there. No, it was COVID, and we shot in the middle of COVID.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah,
that does kind of put a button on it. Okay, guys, we've come to the place in the podcast where I like to call it, and it's me calling it, not anybody else. Shameless plugs. So everybody on the call, you got some social media things you want to get out there. You got some things coming up. Go for it, gentlemen. You got as much time as you want to take. Just yell it out there so that people know what you follow you on social media, what they want to do. Obviously, what we want you to do more than anything is watch the show. Okay, that is first and foremost. But go for it.
Not everybody at the same time.
Okay.
Deji, you start it up.
I'll give mine.
Is that what we want to do?
Derrex, I got it. Derrex, I got it. Philip, I got it. Deji, I got it. I'll start it off. Thomas Q. Jones here. My shameless plug is to watch Johnson on Sunday, August 1st at 8/7 Central. It's an incredible show, groundbreaking show. It's for everyone. Intriguing conversation, topics. You don't want to miss this show. It's the next big thing in Hollywood and on TV. That's my shameless plug.
Fair enough.
Boom.
Done.
I mean, that kind of said it all right there.
I'll say this. What you should, and my shameless plug is to follow the Johnson page. If you're on social media, what you should do is you should go to Instagram and you should go to Twitter and you should type in Johnson Bounce. Once again, that's Johnson Bounce. You're going to get more information about the show. You're going to see clips. You're going to see behind the scenes. And then also, too, just set your alarm, because I know we're living in a world of, streaming and, and kind of watching and binging things when you're able to. But we have these smartphones, and so you can set a reminder. Hey Siri, set my reminder for Sunday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central, Bounce TV, so you don't miss it for sure.
Yeah.
By the way, all that information will be in the show box below, so that way they can follow it. Go ahead. I'm sorry, guys.
My shameless plug. Okay, go ahead, Philip.
No, you go ahead, Derek. You got this.
No, go ahead, bro.
Well, nothing. I was just gonna say we don't have a TikTok yet, but I'm gonna talk to the guys. We're gonna have a Johnson TikTok. We'll do little fun dances, maybe once. If the guy, I don't know who's rolling their eyes. I can't see them right now, but it doesn't matter. It's coming, so look out for that.
It's a full virtual eye roll. Go ahead.
A virtual eye roll.
This is Derek. My shameless plug is just really be clear on the time zones, right? Because I had some family members. We had an exclusive screening and trying to figure that out. So my shameless plug is just remember that it is 8 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. Premieres August 1st, which would be 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 7 p.m. Central.
And 6 p.m. over in the mountain region for those of you in Denver and Arizona and anywhere out there.
That's right. That's right.
Special thanks to my special guests, the driving forces behind Bounce. And of course, thanks to Deji, to Philip, to Thomas, and to Derrex for joining us today. Can't recommend Johnson enough, ladies and gentlemen. It's a show you must see, okay? It's on Brown Sugar. It's on Bounce. It is Johnson. All right. All the information on the show is in our show box below. We'll be back with more of Stream On right after this from our friends at BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
At BMW, we know leaving the road wasn't easy, but anticipating our return taught us to appreciate every drive. The exhilaration of the ultimate adventure. Moments spent with your favorite co-pilots. And the freedom to explore just because. Our time to rejoin the road is finally here.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, if you're not one of the over 75,000 people worldwide who've taken the opportunity to join our little party here, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, we make it simple. It's free. You can find us at the Apple Podcast Store. Same thing over at Google Play. You can find us at Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, as well as TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, just to name a few. Now, if you happen to have a smart speaker, say, like Google, Alexa, or Siri, all you have to do is ask them to play the latest edition of Stream On, and they will be happy to do it for you, okay? Now, if you still can't find us, not to worry. Pull out the old Google machine, type in Stream On with Jim Williams, hit the favorite button or subscribe button, and every week you're going to get a brand new edition of the podcast sent directly to your tablet, your phone, or to both, okay? And by the way, as I said, we have a great worldwide following, and we're very interactive. All of our social media is down in the show box below. We love for you to interact with us. You guys have been fantastic. You have brought to our attention programs that we may not have thought about having on or talking about. So, as I said before, we're interactive. We love to hear from you. Hit us up on social and continue to be a part of our show. Okay? All right. So go out, subscribe, and participate. We greatly would appreciate it. All right? So what are we doing this week? Well, it's really the tale of two blockbusters. And the first is The Suicide Squad, starring a friend of the podcast, Margot Robbie. Now she plays Harley Quinn. Of course, this is a very popular part of the DC universe, and it's going to hit HBO Max this week. So Suicide Squad, popular DC universe program, highly recommend. Margot Robbie playing Harley Quinn and all the other wonderful members of the Suicide Squad. It's the comic book that comes off the pages and onto the screen on HBO Max this week. Another star, another show, Dwayne Johnson, a pal of the podcast, along with a very delightful and talented Emily Blunt, star in the Disney summer blockbuster Jungle Cruise, which is based on the iconic ride at the theme park. Now, it opens just like Suicide Squad in theaters, but also can be streamed on Disney Plus for $30. So check that out for sure. Now, our binge show of the week, as picked by you guys, is the French series with English language overdubs, is Lupin on Netflix. I enjoy that show, by the way. It is fantastic. So check out Lupin on Netflix. Now, don't forget that this is the final week for the Olympics on NBC and their family of networks. So check that one out. All right. So what are we doing next week? Well, we have the gang from the highly anticipated Stars original Heels. The show stars Stephen Amell from the Green Arrow fame. And now he takes us inside the world of pro wrestling. So that's what's coming up next week on Stream On. For the entire team here at Stream On, I'm Jim Williams. Say thank you. Have a wonderful and a safe weekend. And check out Johnson on Bounce and Brown Sugar. Until next week, be well.